welcome back to Ideas That Shape the World. I'm your host, Terdon DeBow. I'm the CEO of Creative Thought Solutions, and I'm your host for this podcast series. I am so excited today. I have Sarah Fontenot here as my guest, and I've been wanting her to be my guest forever, and today it is happening, okay? And so Sarah leads hundreds to better health, wealth, and mental prosperity. She's built multiple successful, strong businesses to 6 and 7 figures. She's grown her first entrepreneurial business from $250,000 a year to over $1 million a year in just 6 months. Do you hear that? Living up to the standard of building the life and the business that you love, she has mastered her craft and inspires others daily to do the same, helping people to help themselves to create the life and business they love. Now, 8 years later, a founder and business owner, Sarah has had the opportunity to thrive as a serial entrepreneur and help others do the same. Welcome, Sarah.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
No problem. Looking gorgeous and beautiful as ever.
You're so kind.
But one of the things that I love though is not only are you like so beautiful on the outside, but just from the content that you share and you letting people into your world, you are beautiful on the inside too. And you have the brains to go with it, which is also really great. So I want people to know more about your journey of how you got to where you are, from when you started in your entrepreneurial journey to where you are today.
Yeah, so essentially it all started with network marketing, and it's funny because sometimes we hear that word and it's like, who, and I understand because it's definitely very different from having a traditional business in the sense where you don't have to have a lot to get started. And now the businesses that I'm starting take thousands and thousands, it costs money to start your own business.
Oh yeah.
If someone would have told me in the past, like, girl, you're going to need 5, 10, 20, 50,000 started. And so I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, girl, like little house on the prairie. I moved to Los Angeles, California to pursue acting. Yes, I'm a cliche. But I'm grateful because that helped me slip and fall into entrepreneurship. So my first company was a network marketing company. I built to the top 1.6% of that company. Loved it. It was great. The products are amazing. But I heard God saying, or whatever that may be for those listening, infinite power, universe. I heard God saying, different, Sarah, different. And initially, I'm not going to lie. And I'm sure some people can relate that they'll hear that inner voice saying, do something different. And you're like, no, like, surely that message isn't for me. Like, surely that's for the person down the street because I got a good life. Like, I was making great money. I was traveling the world. I'm like, God, you're tripping. Like, this is it for me. And he kept saying, different, Sarah, different. And it took me years to actually listen, right? And I feel like sometimes things have to fall apart in order for you, or you have to get pulled back, right? But the further you get pulled back, the further and faster you can get slingshot forward.
Yes.
So that's what happened inside of my journey and inside of that business. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll listen. And so from my network marketing inside of that, I had started a motivation mindset apparel t-shirt line, which also helped me to start a high ticket one-on-one coaching, which now led me to, I have an online course for entrepreneurs who feel stuck, or they feel like there's not enough time or there's not enough money, and really tackling the mindset, because this is the thing about success, period. There is not a single successful person that is going to tell you that it's easy. For those that built it, there's no one that's going to say they didn't go through stuff, but it's really having the inner wherewithal to say, no matter what happens, I'm going until, like, it's not over until I win. Or, for me, I have these mantras that I speak in my mind and that I keep up with. And so it all started with me wanting to be an actress. And which helped me slip and fall into network marketing, which helped me understand that I had gifts. And so for those listening, people, you may not even realize that people are telling you your gifts inside of conversation by asking you, how is it that you do what you do? You know, like even for Turdon, like, how did you start that podcast? You know, maybe that could start a business of let me teach other people how to make podcasts, you know, whatever that may be. And so for me, people used to ask me all the time, like, Sarah, how are you so strong? How are you so resilient? And I'm like, I'm not like, yo, I cry myself to sleep. Like there's been, let me tell I used to be that girl that and just to keep it real, because I believe in authenticity and I believe in transparency. But I was that girl that was calling my mom every month saying, can you please help me pay my rent? Or digging in the couch, looking for change so I could put gas in my car. Like, we don't know true humiliation for me until you put $3 on pump 5. And not because you're in a rush and you gotta go, but because that's really all that you have. And, you know, I share all the time when I moved from my place in Hollywood and moved more south, I was sued for $3,500 worth of late fees, because in living there, out of the 4 years I was there, I paid my rent twice on time, you know? So I just want people to know that sometimes you've got to look at where you are and your circumstance and your situation and decide that that's not who you are. Those things don't define you. That's just where you are. And so we've got to have that vision over our sight. And so I knew that people were telling me, why are you so strong? Why are you so resilient? And then I started to teach. Oh, well, this is what I actually do. There's methods to, oh, I didn't know that I'm doing a method. Let me teach the method. Wow. And so, yeah, so I'm grateful, honored, blessed, and happy, in purpose, on purpose.
Yes, 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 yes. And I love that. And thank you for being authentic and sharing, you know, those parts, because a lot of times people don't want to share those things. You know, they want people to think that, you know, that's where they are, that's where they've been, and there, you know, there wasn't those times where you had to put $3 in the tank to get you to where you have to go. I definitely have been there myself, so I know. So I love what you said about the slingshot pulling you further back so that you can propel forward. That is so powerful, because sometimes what you feel like is a setback can be a setup for you to go further than you thought in your head, because we feel like we know what we want, and we have it in our head how we're supposed to get there, but we don't know what it really takes to get there because we haven't been there yet. Right. And so I love that. And like you said, it's not over until you win. And it's like whatever your definition of winning is, you know, on the entrepreneurial journey, sometimes winning is being able to pay your, you know, your bills and not having the late fees and all of those things. Yeah. And so I love what you said there. Now, what was it that, I know that you said that you started off in network marketing, and that's what started your journey after you went into acting first. But what was it that set in your mind, like, wow, you know, this entrepreneurial life, like I can do this. Like I really, like, what helped you gain the confidence in that?
Well, you know, I think I, number one, have life mantras that I didn't know, and I only know now in hindsight, right? And so I have these things that I used to say to myself, and I think that's why people thought I was this super strong person. And even myself, I'm like, no, I could do anything. And then, you know, you get slapped by life and it's like, wait, I thought I could. But I literally I funnel everything through these glasses that are my vision. Mm-hmm. And what the glasses are these life mantras that I so strongly hold on to. And I didn't know at the time. And so to give you an example, I'm always that girl. I feel like I am battle tested. Let me tell you, like a lot of women are out here looking for the knight in shining armor. You don't want the knight in shining armor because he's never been to battle. You know, you don't know how his armor is really going to test out. If he doesn't have a ding, he's never been through anything. I don't want him, right?
Yeah.
Battle tested. Let me tell you. And so I think back to when I started in entrepreneurship, one of my girls, like, you know, I was struggling. I couldn't pay my rent. I was that girl that would go to eat with my friends and then look according to the price to see what I could order. Or if I would pretend like I wasn't hungry and eat the bread that came to the table and drink a ton of water, right? So one of my best girlfriends was like, Sarah, like, it doesn't have to be this hard. Like, it doesn't have to be this hard. Sarah, you could why don't you go date an athlete? Why don't you like, and so people start throwing all of the outs at you, right? Get in a relationship, date a man with money. But it's never do it yourself, become your own hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember I had this car and my car used to squeak on every block. It was like, you could hear me coming from forever away. And be careful what you curse, because I always say, like, I hated that car so much. It's the biggest crap. Anyway, that car crashed itself on the freeway with me. Don't ask me any questions. That's just how it happened, right? I didn't die. I'm grateful. Now, my mentor was in Torrance, California, which is a 45-minute away from Hollywood, California, right? I was already struggling to put gas in my car. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to figure it out. When my car crashed itself, I had a decision to make. I could say, well, maybe this is God saying, this just isn't for me. No, this is God saying, how bad do you really want it? And so I made the decision to start taking the bus. It was actually 2 buses and a train, 2.5 hours one way and 3 hours back, because I knew that success does not come to you. You have to go to it. And my mentor didn't want my life. Like, I'm still paying my rent. And sometimes we feel so entitled to other people making sure that we're successful, but our success is up to us and us alone. You know, like, you got to look in the mirror. It's up to that person that you see in the reflection. And so I remember one time on my bus ride, I got robbed at the bus stop for all of the money that I had. And it was like $200. And that may not seem like a lot of money, but it doesn't seem like a lot until that's all you need to pay your rent. You know what I mean? And so I remember I was telling my girlfriend, and I was like, yo, I was crying, like sobbing, like this, it's so hard. It's so like, oh, and she kept telling me, Sarah, it doesn't have to be this hard. It doesn't have to. And I used to say all the time, this is all a part of my story. When I make it, ooh, this is all a part of my story. Nobody likes a flatline story. Nobody likes a predictable story. Nobody likes, you gotta have the stuff. I've got stuff that's happened to me in my life that would make you sob, that would make you cry, that would make you laugh, make you giggle, make you like, oh, plot twist, you know, like I literally have the craziest story. And so what I didn't know at the time was, I knew that no matter what I was hearing, I knew what I believed in. I knew that this was all a part of my story. And my story doesn't end in broke, struggling Sarah. That's not, I refuse to let that be the thing. My story ends in victory, not victim. And so I was telling my girl, you know, like, no, like, this is all a part of my story. I'm just gonna have a great story. And she's like, no, Sarah, like, it doesn't. So I also realized in that moment, that you've got to get around the people that pull the soldier out of you. And not be stuck with the people that pacify you. You know, sometimes if all you ever hear is it's hard, I know it's hard, but what are we going to do about it?
Right.
Like, I know we're struggling, but what is the alternative? So for me, that is how I have these mantras that I live by. One is, this is all a part of my story. Another one is, things go wrong so that life can go right. And to be clear, just because you have these mantras, it doesn't make it easy to always live through. Like, I was engaged 4 years ago on Instagram. I had the life. Like, I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, I was engaged 4 years ago.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, girl. And I had a $30,000, 3.5 carat diamond ring on Instagram. We were every hashtag. We were relationship goals. We were power couple. We were black love. We were all of it.
Yeah.
But in reality, it was really toxic. It wasn't a great situation. And so when I called it off, it wasn't easy for me to say, things go wrong so that life can go right. It was really hard for me to say those things, but it makes it easier to endure the fact that I know that life is going to go right. And now I can laugh about the things that I used to cry about, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my answer. I funnel everything through an empowered story to know that it's not over until I win.
Yes.
You know, and inside of the hard, if I can just hold on to that little bit of hope, you know, because there's 10,000 reasons why things won't work, why things are going to go bad, why this is hard, or why there's 1,000,001.
Yeah.
All you need is the one reason why you're going to lock in, lock down, stay committed, and make it happen. And that was it for me.
Man, that is amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That is amazing. Because even in scripture, it says that even if you have a mustard seed, and a
Yes.
mustard seed is super tiny, even if you have just the tiniest bit of belief that you can see yourself in another place,
Yeah.
then it says you could say to a mountain, move. So it's like whatever situation, you can look at it in its face and then you can stand up. I love what you said about getting around people that pull the soldier out of you. Like that was great, because sometimes you will have people who are, leaning into, they don't see the greatness in themselves, so they can't see the greatness in you and they can't pull it out of you, and so they pacify you and they're like, oh no, it's okay, and they do that, but they don't look you in your face, tell you the truth, and make you rise up to who they see you as. And so that is amazing. I love what you said there. And then it all being a part of your story,
Yeah.
all of that, because sometimes there's been times I looked at my life like, this is a Lifetime movie. Like this is like this is a movie. This is a story.
Right.
And being able to tell yourself like, wow, like you said, like this makes for a great story. This is another chapter in my book that is going to help someone else, when they get to that
Mm-hmm.
chapter. Because what I find is I only come across people who are at where I have been, or who are at where I'm trying to go. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like when people come across your path, you always have somewhere to pull from. You can say, girl, like, I know it may seem rough now, but trust me, I've been where you are, and I
Yes.
can tell you that you'll make it through it. Like,
Yes.
you can make it to the other side. And so I definitely love that. And so when it comes to everything that's going on now, we know that, like you said before we hopped on and did the podcast, the world is never going to be the same that it was. We're not going back to the way that things were before. And so what are you finding that you've had to do to pivot your business during this time?
There's several things. I feel like I just have more time to do things, period, to
Mm-hmm.
create more content, to add to my market, my target market, to grow
Yeah.
my email list. Like it's really just having more time to get more involved inside of the working in my business and not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily on my business, which
Right.
is really cool. And for people, if you don't have a team yet, or you don't have a marketing agency, or you like right now, while we have this time, it is a huge opportunity to develop skills that are going to better your business in a sense of, I ask people all the time, like, if you are, if you have an online course, or if you have a product or service that you sell, or you have a business, period, how are you growing and expanding? Because I really feel like this time is leveling out the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
This is an opportunity for people that may not be known to really start to rise, because now everything is online. People can't go to the same stores they're used to going to every day because we can't go outside.
Right.
So now it's more of an opportunity for you to boost your influence, to overcome that level of obscurity.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the question is, number one, do you know who you're talking to? And it really goes back to belief too. I so strongly, like, I have a whole course, right, that goes into how to grow your business, start your business, scale your business. If you need to, everybody doesn't need to scale their business either. That's
Yeah.
the first topic. But the first module of my course focuses so heavily on mindset, having a
Mm-hmm.
success mindset. So you've also got to decide that you're worthy of that.
Yeah.
Decide that you're worth it. Build that confidence, get a result, some kind of result inside of your business. So
Yeah.
for me, that's really kind of just what I've been doing. I've been building more relationships, checking in on people more. And one
Yeah.
thing for me, my pet peeve on Instagram for people, because I also feel like people are spamming more now than ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't spam. Like, it literally puts you on the list of never take this person serious. Like, for our listeners, anytime anyone is like, hey, how many times am I going to get, would you like to grow your Instagram following?
Oh
Grow your
my goodness.
Instagram following. Get off my page. Like,
Right. Right.
you know, like there's so many people that be like, check your DM. Would you like to grow your Instagram engagement? Like, oh God, and it dehumanizes. And
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to buy a thing. People are purchasing you and
Yeah,
your and how you make them feel. And so I
exactly.
would say even getting to know people from their feeds and commenting and those relationships, when they come back and they learn that you're about your business or a service or a product, friends want to support friends. Maybe not that you're like friends right now, because people that love you the most sometimes support you the least. But like
Right.
friends are real supportive. I'm just saying. So I would say, take this time to really dive in and get to know your market. Go comment on their pictures, go follow people, go create engagement, go send them messages like, and that is just cultivating more of your community. And you can do that
Mm-hmm.
through finding, what hashtags is your page about? If we're just talking social media, because everything is online, right?
Right. Yeah.
So for me, one of the things that I like to do is I'm like hashtag empowered, hashtag women's empowerment, hashtag
Mm-hmm.
women winning, hashtag women in business, and then all of the hashtags that are like that hashtag come up beside that hashtag.
Right.
And you can go and comment on the top 9. Gary Vee taught that as far as like growing followings. It works. So that's what I've been doing. I've been cultivating my community. I've been digging in to people that I know and I love. And the funny part is, when you are that girl or guy in your business, like let's say you're the hair girl, or let's say you're the knitted kitten hat girl, or you're the hoodie girl, whatever it may be. When you are that person, they relate you to that. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to bring what you do. You could say, hey, how are the kids? And immediately they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I still need to get that hoodie.
Right.
They'll
Yeah.
so
So true.
yeah.
So you hear that, you guys. She just gave you guys 3 nuggets that you can go ahead and jot down. The first is get your mind right. Your mindset matters. Figure out what mantras you're going to say to yourself so that you can overcome anything, because it's the glasses that you put on to make it through any opposition. To know who you're talking to, know the market, really get involved so that you can show up for them in a good way, and to be able to know exactly what it is that they need. Because if you don't know the market, you're not going to be able to meet the market where they're at. And 3, build connections, relationships, and engage with people, because people don't buy from people from just corporations, or people don't buy from people that they don't know, like, and trust, or have a connection with. So those are 3 things that I hope you guys wrote down. And so thank you for those. Now, as far as with the platform that you've been building online, I know that you get a lot of engagements, and people would consider you an influencer, because people know, like, and trust you. They follow you, you engage with them, you do great content consistently. You're super consistent. That's the one thing that I know about you. I know that if I go online, you're going to be there, and you're going to be giving out jewels. And so what were the steps that you took to be able to build your platform in a way to have that audience that is looking out for what you're talking about or engaging with you?
I literally did the Gary Vee method. I wish I could stamp it and say that I created it, and I didn't, but I did it and it worked. And so even growing my Instagram following, I think I went from like 12,000 to like 40,000, and then they started changing the algorithm, so that didn't work. And now I feel like I'm a little stagnant at like 55,000. But I don't care about followers. That's one thing that I will say for for our listeners.
Yeah.
Followers do not pay the bills. Like,
Yes.
do not pay the bills. And
Mhm.
for those of you that don't know, there's a woman on Instagram. I don't even remember what her name is, but she posted this about herself. So it's not to throw shade, but she had 2.6 million followers, 2.6 million followers, and she couldn't sell 36 t-shirts.
Mm.
So what I would say is, sometimes we put a lot of weight on the following. We put a lot of weight on the likes or the comments, or okay, yeah, that's all good and great. But someone with
Mhm.
10,000 followers can monetize 10,000 followers
Right.
by making sure that they're targeting the market. So the way that I do that again is I go to hashtags, right? So let me say that I search And also, okay, so there's so much. This is a lot.
Right.
Okay, so first of all, you want to separate buyers with intent to buy and buyers, right? So let's say that you sell fitness clothing, right? If you sell fitness clothing, there's a difference between hashtagging fashion on one of your workout outfits and hashtagging Fabletics, hashtagging Lululemon, hashtagging who's another whatever, all the fitness people. I don't know that, so I don't know, but you should know if that's your market. Mm-hmm. So you can go and search for those types of people that have an intention to buy. If someone is searching Fabletics, they're probably seeking to buy their clothing, right? You don't go to Fabletics to look at how cute their outfits are. You probably want to buy. Now, if you go to workout fashion, you just want to look at workout fashionable clothing. Does that make sense?
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure. So for the people that are listening, I hope that made sense. So you want to separate the difference between buyers with intent to buy or people with intent to buy and just getting people, but both are inside of your niche. Now, it all comes to, you can use Facebook to do this. That's how I do a lot with Facebook ads, or Instagram. Hashtags, if you're looking to grow your following and really make sure that your following, like you asked me in the beginning, is direct to the type of person that you are. So for me on my page, I also want to make sure that I'm posting in alignment with what it is that I want to attract. So for me, you're going to get something about me, you're going to get inspiration, motivation, lifestyle, and probably like some word of encouragement. Right? That's all I want to attract people that want to be inspired. They want to be empowered. They want to feel motivated. And people that want to take action in those things, right? Now, if I know that, I can go search hashtags that are in alignment with that and go comment on those people's pictures. Right. And not emojis, read the caption, get real with the people, and the people will either come and follow you or at least come like you back. But what happens is there's a community. If you notice, a lot of people hashtag the same stuff. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
So there's a community of, let's say it's fashion, right? Which is not an intent to buy, but let's say fashion, there's a community that kind of has the same, that's too big of a hashtag. Let's say something smaller like mindset motivation. Maybe that has 150,000 looks instead of 2.5 million, right? Smaller communities, which are easier to grasp. So that is how I've personally made sure that my market is targeted towards me and what I have to offer.
Yes.
And then also don't like stuff that's outside of your niche either. I know it sucks. Right. My girls, it's called Ratchet Central. We have a group in the thread where we will send all the stuff where we can comment on, we can laugh, joke. But if you like it, that's the stuff that starts to fill your feed. Right. The people that could partner with, or you could cross collaborate with, or there's so many different things that go into social media.
I like that, Ratchet Central. And when we all have those pages where it's like, I'm not gonna like it, but I'm gonna send this to the people that I know.
I can't like it. I can't.
Right.
Girls, I'm like, I can't like anything on your page, but I'm gonna talk about you. We gonna talk about you in the group.
Right. Exactly. And people sleep on hashtags. Like, I love hashtags because I end up getting the people that are following that hashtag. I end up getting a lot of people that I don't know that are sharing the stuff. And another hack that I found is that if you, Instagram now tells you who's resharing your stuff. And so it'll tell you that they're resharing it in their stories. And so I go to those individuals and I say, I'll say, thank you for sharing. And they'll respond back. And this converted someone into actually buying something from me that week, because I had a free webinar that week. And I said, oh, and by the way, if you're a business owner, I have a free webinar for you to hop on. And so 10 people that I did that with actually converted to the webinar, and then one person converted to whatever I pitched at the end. Yes. And so, like you said, it's just having the intent too, like, are you intentionally connecting with people, and are you using Instagram's tools for what they're, for not just getting people that like you, but to get them to actually take some type of action with you.
Yeah.
And don't sleep on those hashtags.
Sometimes I'm like, wait, what? Some photos, I'm like, whoa, how? What?
Yeah.
You'll see 30,000 impressions from hashtags. Like,
yeah.
wait, what?
Exactly. Exactly. And so, thank you for sharing those nuggets. So can you tell me, like, from your journey of entrepreneurship, growing your audience, connecting with people, overcoming challenges, what would you say, like, your top 3 lessons have been so far that that you can share with people who may connect with your journey?
Yeah, I would say the number one thing is belief. And, I once heard a staggering statistic that 67% of people don't think that anyone would care if they died.
Wow.
That means that 7 out of 10 people don't actually think that they matter. So
Wow.
in business, you hear about resources and strategies and tools, but none of that means anything when there's a worthiness issue.
Mm.
And that comes with belief. And that's why I so heavily focus on belief, like having belief in self. And
Yes.
so for me, one of the biggest takeaways is, so a lot of the time people are like, I want to believe, but how? And so the equation that I use all the time and how to actually build your level of belief in self, in your product, in your doing, because I promise you, success is in the mindset. Success is a choice. It's not an accident. And when you are intentional about it, knowing that, okay, the difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person is if an unsuccessful person doesn't know something, like if they don't know a language, it's like, oh, well, I don't know that language, I can't do that. A successful person says, I don't know that, but let me put it on the agenda to learn it, right? So are you willing to bet all in on yourself? Are you focused on making the decision to come out of this time better no matter what? And so the one thing that I would say is belief breaks down to this. Number 1, repetition. Repetition, 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 repetition. The more that you repeat something, you create awareness about it, right?
Yeah.
So if you're repeating it pictures that's why they say, in affirmations, like, I am this, I am that. And if we have time after, I would love to say something about affirmations that can set people up more powerfully. But having the pictures about things, having the words written out, putting the fake, I have fake $1 billion bills everywhere, girl. Like, I'm a billionaire, and not because of the money, but because of how I want to build on the planet and give back to people and build villages and create water. And that, it is what it is. So anyway, you've got to be able to see those things. The more that you repeat it, it creates that awareness. Now, it's like the awareness thing works like your reticulating activator. I don't know if I said that right, but like anyone can be an entrepreneur, right? So
Right.
like it's like the car that you buy, and now you start seeing that car absolutely everywhere, because it's like in the back of your brain of like, oh, I've seen that now. I know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're aware about it, what it does is that creates evaluation. This is where I am. This is where I have to go. A lot of the time, people never actually put success on their radar, right? So you've got to have success on your radar. And success for me does not mean money. Success for me means your physical, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, and your financial. Mm-hmm. That for me is a whole life, successful, happy life. That's what I'm after. And you get to define what your success is too. So if you know where you are, like me getting to $1 billion, if I would have said $1 billion back when I couldn't pay my rent, I never, like, that wasn't what, like that was so far-fetched from whatever it may be. So our goals stretch and they grow, right?
Yeah.
So it creates a valuation. So now I can see this is where I am and this is where I have to go, which can give you, when you reverse engineer it, a plan of action. So now daily, day in and day out, that's going to just create more progress, and progress creates more belief, which goes back into repetition, a new thing, which goes into creates more awareness, what goes into creates more evaluation, which goes into more action, more progress, into more belief. And it's this cyclical thing that just has to do with the power of your thoughts. What we think about is what comes about. Because if you think it enough, you'll believe it. And if you believe it, you act like it. So who do you think you are? Like when people ask you that question, oh, I'll tell you who I think I am.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm like, and we get to know that we're all worthy. Every single one of us on this planet. It's not something that like you're chosen once you get there. No, you were born into worthiness. You know?
Yes.
And it's whether or not you choose to claim that. And so, is it okay for me to talk about the affirmations?
Yes, please do.
One thing that I will say, it's as far as belief goes, so that's the number one thing for me. To be successful, you need a success mindset. You've got to have
Yeah.
belief in yourself and bet all in on you, and know that no matter what happens, you learn to adapt. You're resilient, you're consistent, you're persistent. We all know those things. But if you don't believe in you, why would anyone else? You know?
Yeah.
So when it comes to affirming, as an example, one of the things that I got from a good girlfriend of mine, her name is Allison Bird, phenomenal woman, phenomenal woman. And I heard her speaking one time, and she was talking about affirmations. And I was like, that's so true. A lot of the times when we affirm things, we don't actually believe it. Right. So if I was back when I was struggling, can't put gas in my car, struggling to pay my rent, Sarah, saying I'm a billionaire is the furthest thing. It's almost like I'm repelling that I don't feel good about it because it feels so fake to me, you know? So now I'm actually repelling that thing away, as opposed to saying an affirmation that helps you get in alignment with the kind of person who becomes that thing. So let's say if you want to make $100,000 this year in your business, I am becoming the kind of person who is consistent in following up with 5 new prospects a day. I am becoming the kind of person who gets up in the morning and is successful in my morning regimen. I am becoming the kind of person who is going to eat the food that fuels my body. I am becoming the kind of person who can be consistent with making the cold calls. I am becoming the kind of person who is committed to 6, 5, 4, whatever number you choose as far as getting people started per day. I'm becoming the kind of person who doesn't take no for an answer. I am becoming the kind of person, and as you become that kind of person and you speak that type of life into yourself, you become that kind of person, and that's the kind of person that attracts that thing. When you're consistent with how many people you talk to a day, when you're consistent with how many people you follow up with a day, when you're consistent with plugging them into whatever structure you have, listening to your personal development so you're reinforcing your mind and your spirit, and being accountable to self, then anything and all things are possible.
Yes. Come on. Come on, Sarah. You just bless the people, because that is so that is so true. Like to be successful, you have to see yourself as successful. You have to show up and be that person. Even when it doesn't feel like you can do that, even when it doesn't look like it's going to happen, it's like you have to know without a shadow of a doubt that that is your reality.
Yeah.
There's something that I watched a while ago, and what he said was, he said the feeling is the prayer. Like
Mm,
it's not the actual words that you're speaking that is the prayer, because if your mind and your spirit is not aligning with it, then that's not the prayer, because as soon as you say what you can't do, you're praying against what you just prayed for.
yep.
And so he said, when you create the feeling within yourself as if you already have it, that's the actual prayer that brings it to you.
Yes.
And that has stuck with me,
Yes.
because just like you said, you are becoming what it is that you're saying and that you're speaking and that you're repetitively working towards. And so you just dropped, like, it's hot, like my laptop is hot, like everything. You just dropped all kind of nuggets for the people today. I so appreciate you for being here, for dropping so many jewels, so many nuggets. If you heard nothing else, if you took away nothing else, you guys, get your mind right. And
Yes.
the money will follow, and the life that you want will follow. Above money, the impact will follow. Above that, the abundance of, health and peace and joy, all of that will follow when your mind is right. And so thank you so much, Sarah. How can the good people get in, like follow you and connect with you after this?
Yeah, so I am Ms. Sarah Fontenot. So MSSARAH like Frank, Ontenot. So it looks like Ms. Sarah Fontenot, but it's Fontenot. And you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm a little more loose-lipped on Twitter, so don't follow me unless you wanna, whatever. These are it is what it is. And then Instagram and YouTube, it's all Sarah Fontenot. So you can find me on all of the platforms, one streamlined name.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
one last, oh my gosh, I didn't even say, if you guys are interested in my course, or if you want to check it out, you can go to www.disruptoreliteGroup.com. So disruptor is DISRUPTOR, not ER. I spelled disruptor wrong for a long time until I used it. So disruptoreliteGroup.com.
yes, you heard it. Now, if you want to get your mind right, if you want to get your money right, if you want to get, your life looking the way you want it to look, then connect with Miss Sarah Fontenot. So thank you everyone who is watching, who is listening, who is reading this online. I appreciate the thousands of you that are downloading this podcast. When they send me the statistics, it lets me know that we're doing something right because you guys keep on tuning in. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Ideas That Shape the World, because you know that my belief is it is the people that take their ideas and that act on them are the ones that can continue to keep moving the world forward. Those are the leaders that people look up to in times like this, times that we're in right now. So thank you. And until next time, we'll see you later.